Welcome to Vegan Ultra. This is Thursday night, so it's Vegan Chat with Adam and Sean, your two co-host inspiration guides. And today is part 2 of our 3-part series on making 2024 the most epic, legendary year of your life. Now, last week we talked about the importance of setting goals, but now Vegan Sean, my personal guru who's been doing this for 10 years, is going to show us how to do it right. I was so proud of my vision board, which me and Self Perfector worked on for 2 hours, but he's going to show you how the pros do it. So, Sean, let us go ahead and share this with the people, and you can walk us through it, how you set your incredible goals to make 2024 the best year of your life.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. I'm really excited about this one. I had a really good year last year for a number of reasons, and it's not because I set goals at the beginning of the year. It's because things worked out really well, and I don't think that I would have written this presentation if it wasn't for your inspiration and doing this regular show with you. So thank you for that.
Happy to
but
help.
Yeah, this is going to be my goals and resolutions for the year. So let's go to the next slide. All right, overview. I think a lot about lifestyle balance, and there are different ways to break it up, but the first way that I remember it was the 5 aspects of lifestyle balance. And I don't know if I've written them correctly. Whatever, it's a prompt. You've got nutrition, fitness, sleep, your stress or toxins, and your satisfaction. Things like your love and your relationships, and hobbies, things that you do for enjoyment.
So basically, this is the blue zone lifestyle that doctors and science has been preaching for decades, that results in the happiest, healthiest, longest lived societies.
Yeah, exactly right. And so if we start with, for me, my nutrition goals, it's it's almost kind of simple. I've got my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And my first specific goal here, I want to log 100 days of my gold standard breakfast, and that's I've talked about that before. It's my breakfast oats with berries, seeds, and nuts. There's no additives, there's no sweeteners, not even plant milk in that one. I think that I can hit 100 logs of that, because when I start eating, I tend to get on a roll. And so if I have a bad week, really this will encourage me to follow it up with a good week so that I can hit that goal.
And when you say log, are you using a specific app?
Yeah, I use Cronometer for logging my meals and nutrition, and it's really great for showing the detailed nutrition, and it's really easy to use, and it's really easy to save recipes. So it's a great tool. I learned about that tool from Mike the Vegan.
Oh, so you're basically saying that you can have a standard recipe and save it and then just put it into each individual day.
Yeah, and that makes it easy for me to use the tool. That, in combination with the fact that I really like to just eat the same breakfast every single day. So I've developed this breakfast oats, and now it's saved as one of my recipes in my Cronometer account. And when I eat it, I open the app and I hit the plus button to add a food, and it's at the top of the list because I've added it recently, because I had it yesterday. And I touch that button and I hit OK, and that's my logging my breakfast for the day.
Now, I have the premium version for all the features. Is this in the free version that anyone can use?
Yeah, I just use the free version of this app.
Okay, perfect. And so basically this is the lunch and dinner that you're happy with. Is that like a specific thing? Is that like a special celebration with the wife and family?
No, it's not something that I have developed yet. So I mentioned that my rule used to be that I would recite G-bombs before I would eat a meal, and then that would just help me, drift toward eating foods that are really good. Um, I'll give an example of what I'm not happy with, because that mostly when I eat lunch and dinner, I'm not really happy about what I ate, and that'll be things like, there's a few Daya frozen pizzas that we kept in the freezer, or I don't feel like using anything in the kitchen, so I'm going to go to the Burger King drive-thru and get an Impossible Burger, or go to Taco Bell. And it's not that it's ever bad to eat like that, but when I'm not ever eating anything that's approaching like my gold standard breakfast, just eating this great breakfast and then eating crap the rest of the day, almost every single day, then I'm not happy with that. So it takes a little bit of work to prepare the food. It takes a little bit of work to log the food. And so I figure that at 20 times, that's like logging one meal every other week. So it's going to drive me to start a habit. I'm not going to be at the point where I eat lunch and dinner the same way that I eat breakfast, where it's completely healthy and I'm extremely happy with my habits. So this is kind of a springboard.
Oh, perfect. That's absolutely wonderful advice, and I certainly have to try this myself. My dietitian was actually, I have the spreadsheet that I send her before every session, and she's just like, yeah, this is great. I can see everything you're eating, all the nutrition for a week, but what are you eating on your average day? Because I'm just seeing this kind of all together, and I haven't been able to figure out on Cronometer how to get that done. So this is something we can definitely, help explore in the future, and maybe we can even do some additional, parts of this series, because I know our goal is to help people get on the right track. And even if they're not willing to completely go vegan, if you're like someone like my father who's trying to go Mediterranean and 90% plant-based, or even half plant-based, flexitarian, every little bit counts.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we'll go to fitness. Fitness was my strong point in 2023, and so my goal for 2024 is mostly to maintain, and I expect to exceed 2023 this year just by kind of maintaining. So what I want to do is exceed any of my records that I've recorded on Strava, and I know that I have a good chance of doing that because I've been using Strava on the daily. So we ended up with a dog to take care of. That was completely unexpected, but she's given me some discipline because she needs to get her exercise. So I need to take her for a walk, and she's a bigger dog, so she likes speed and she likes a lot of miles, and that's kept me out walking usually twice a day, almost every day. And so I logged that on Strava, but I didn't start tracking until February last year. So I joined Team Plant Strong for the Austin Marathon. I signed up for the 5K, and
I've signed up for you, and I'm going to go ahead and nail that marathon, 11, 12 hours, all 26 miles in one day. First time ever. Let me tell you, it is, even walking that distance, I've done 20 miles so far. Oh, you feel it.
It's a lot. I'm still daunted by the idea of more than a half marathon. I'll talk about that in a second here. But I didn't start using Strava until I met everybody in person in Austin. And I thought, yeah, I'll record on Strava. Everybody was talking about it. They liked the features. And then I thought it'll be a good way to log my performance, and then I can build on that. So I started tracking in February, and if I use Strava the whole year, this year, which I will, I'm already going to be recording an extra roughly 2 months. So just as long as I maintain, I'm already going to exceed probably most of the records as Strava has them logged for me. And that's 170 awesome. Hours on the year. 11.4 miles is my longest event, and thinking that's dangerously close to the distance of a half marathon. So I'm kind of maybe thinking about that. Um, and yeah, my fitness has gone up, so my total miles should go up because I walk a little bit faster on average now after having walked almost every day for a whole year. I've set one personal record, and that I don't know what that means. That's some community thing, but I don't have to beat every one of these goals. If I increase one of these numbers, that's my goal for the year.
Oh man,
Um,
that's exactly how my personal trainer does it as well, man. It's like you don't have to set records on sets and reps and the weight, and it's just like, every little bit, just something makes you feel good. And looking at these goals, man, this is about 50 miles a month, so 12 and a half miles a week. So it's like a half marathon every week for a year, and you're cracking 600 miles. And what it sounds like, it's amazing, is that you do this, you're gonna feel great, you're gonna have all these health benefits, and then for 2025 you're gonna be like, okay, now let's step it up, and we can go from a 5K to a 10K to a half marathon. Let me ask you, man, it's like, so you're 37 and you're gonna turn 38, so it's like, and this sounds like it's a multi-year plan, and especially since you're inspired by me, and it's like, I mean, I doubt I'm actually going to be able to do an Ironman or something. But it's like, are you thinking that you could like scale these things up and, be in your 40s and just like defy the aging gods by being in like the best shape of your life and like maybe even do a marathon? Would you be interested in that?
oh, absolutely. I was a really fast runner when I was in elementary school and high school. I was the fastest runner in my class in elementary school, and once I learned about marathons, I think when I was like a pre-teenager or a teenager, I think I learned about it when I was watching the Wildcats. Is that what it's called? The movie with Meg Ryan, where she ends up becoming a football coach, and she does this running challenge with everybody on the football team because they're resistant because she's a woman, and she's like, all right, well, I'll run, and we're all gonna run, and if any one of you on the team outlasts me, then you could tell me to go to hell. And then so she outruns all of them, and at the end she goes, oh, by the way, I ran the Boston Marathon. And that spurred my interest in marathons, and I was like, well, hell yeah, I'm gonna run the Boston Marathon. Like, I'm super fast and I love running. So then, then I got my driver's license, and I got a job, and I stopped running, and then I went to college, and I didn't continue running, and then I started to learn about like joint injuries, like knee and hip injuries, and then the wave of the internet, and I've talked about the dangers of getting into like the blogs and the chat rooms and Reddit and whatnot, but I found all kinds of people that were talking about how our bodies are not meant to be running all the time. We're going to break down our joints. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years, and I no longer believe that line. And it's a little bit of a bummer that I'm finally putting fitness back together at age 37. So this past year has been acceptance that I'm past the type of physical prime I could have had for somebody who is setting world records and being extremely competitive in races. But I'm just going to be happy that I'm feeling better in the last couple of years than I was the couple of years before.
Oh
and
man, absolutely.
And
winning, the glory is not in winning the marathon, it's in completing a marathon, which is something that 99% of people will never do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good that I made it to acceptance this year, because the longest distance that I tracked on Strava this past year, 11.4 miles, I was just trying to increase my baseline fitness and how much I could hike. There's a segment in my neighborhood that I go walk through the trails, and I kind of had an arbitrary endpoint, and I did a big loop, and I didn't think it was going to be 11.4 miles. I thought it was going to be a little over 8 miles. And so I got back, and I was really proud of it, and I was really exhausted. And then a couple days later, I went, wait a second, 11.4, that's like really, really close to a half marathon. And so now, yeah, I have half marathon kind of in my sights. I'm not listing it as a goal for this year. So I definitely want to complete the 5K. I'm going to do that for Austin Marathon. I'll do it virtually this year. I'm not going to Texas. And maybe I'll beat the time. I've got a 35-minute, 45-second time. Maybe I'll beat it, but I haven't been running the whole year. I've been walking. And if I don't beat it, then the other goal is just a continuous 5K without walking breaks. I guess if I do that, I'll probably end up beating the time goal. If I don't beat that, that's okay. I can set a goal to set my 10K time, which is no problem because I've already hiked 11.4 miles. So I know I can do a running/walking 10K. And if I don't do that, then the other goal would just be to complete a half marathon. I think based on the kind of year that I had last year, any one of these is almost not easily. It's still going to be a little bit of work, but like I'm on the momentum. There doesn't seem to be anything that's going to be in my way from completing one of those goals this year. I'm pretty excited about it.
Well, perfect. So, but just out of curiosity, what have you ever done a full marathon, or what was like the longest you've ever run in your life?
The longest I've ever run for a race would be less than 5K. Because when I ran the 5K last year for Austin, that was the longest race that I ever completed. And when I was in track in junior high, I did not compete in the 1 mile. So I was more of a sprinter. So we would go on longer practices, but we weren't running constantly. So I would say that the longest continuous distance I've ever run without taking a walking pause is probably between 1 and 2 miles.
Well, it sounds great that you've got some stretch goals, and this is kind of like what my personal trainer does at the gym too, where it's like each time you're shooting for a little bit more, but it's like, hey, we just set a record for like set number 3 out of 4. Boom, we beat it, and now let's go for glory with that final one and just see. You got to listen to your body, and you never know. It's like, hey, you can do a 10K, do a half marathon, and even you don't have to worry about necessarily beating, for next year, because it's like, hey, it's like you do a 10K, and let's say you do it in 65 minutes. Well, for 2025, let's do it. Let's shoot for 60, and it's just like,
Exactly.
and maybe you can do a half marathon. That's the thing, people. It's just the joys of discovering what are your limits of your body. And I'll tell you, it is absolutely incredible. I today had my own training session. It was push day, and I just crushed every record. I mean, it's the power of the soup, the beets, the nitrates. It's just like, the powered by plants. You really do feel like Superman.
Yeah. And those fitness goals for me are going to be the key to both keeping my calories up on my nutrition and improving my sleep. So I really want to improve my sleep overall, but I don't have very many specific goals because sleep has always been a very high priority for me. That started to falter after COVID started. When we all got sent home to work, my productivity shot through the roof, and the reward for hard work was more hard work.
Oh yeah.
So it was the first time in my entire life in 2020 that I beat up my sleep schedule in favor of something else. I didn't even do that in college. I didn't do all-nighters. I always try to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So now, I've got the legacy of a few years ago of not very good sleep habits. I still have some of them. So I'm going to evaluate those habits. I'm going to evaluate my tracking. I do have I have a watch that has a heart rate monitor, and it's hooked up to the Withings app. So I do get a figure for how it says my sleep is. I think it's pretty accurate. It's pretty good. But I might consider if I want to dial in some goals with that tracking. And then I want to improve my habit of reading before I go to sleep. This past year, whenever I did that, it was really good for me. It made me read more and it made me sleep better. And what I've done in the past couple months is I've replaced that good habit with a horrible habit of throwing in my headphones and turning on a video or a movie. And I tend to get really hungry for documentary type stuff. I really like reading nonfiction, and I really love listening to experts on like the Rich Roll podcast. I love tuning into every Mike the Vegan episode, and I have this thing where like I'm trying to pack everything into my waking hours during the day, and I'm still hungry for more. And
man, you and me both, man. It's just like,
yeah.
I mean, I am walking and eating and watching YouTube all at the same time. Just, you gotta stay busy. You gotta keep your mind going.
Yep, but it gets in the way of my sleep, and I don't need to be watching videos every hour of the day. So I'm gonna go back to my reading before sleep habit. That'll improve things a lot.
That is some great stuff, man. We should do an episode just on sleep alone, man. It's like each one of these topics.
Absolutely. All right, we got stress and toxins. Alcohol. 2023, I had my best year in my 21 plus adult life for alcohol. I had a friend, multiple people around my age are getting into seeing what alcohol has done to them, and they dropped the habit, or they do a dry January. And last year I had already signed up for the 5K, and so I thought, I'll do a dry January as well, but I'll just run it all the way through the race, which was on February 18th. And I thought this will be good. I need a break from alcohol because I would like to drink a lot less alcohol. I drink alcohol whenever I feel like it, which is sometimes one drink 3 or 4 nights in a row, and sometimes it's no alcoholic drinks for about 2 weeks in a row. It's just whenever it strikes me, and I don't drink a very large quantity. But when I tally it up over the course of the year in my head, I realize, it's a lot more than it needs to be, and it's a toxin, and I enjoy it, but I would like to do less. So last year, I did the dry January through almost the end of February, and it just completely changed my amount of craving throughout the rest of the year. I naturally drank a lot less. I don't know exactly how much less, and I would like to work towards some finite number target. Therefore, a hard goal for me this year is to track my alcohol intake. So I'll either mark it down in a spreadsheet or on a notepad or in my Cronometer or some other app that's made for alcohol tracking.
Well, that sounds absolutely amazing. I know my doctor has told me the same thing. It's just like, one of those, I remember asking once, it's like, okay, so, red wine, 1 or 2 servings a day, healthy for your heart. Should I start drinking? And it's just like, they're like, oh, no, don't do that. And now, of course, it's like we found out that famous J curve about alcohol. Like, well, the people who drink nothing actually, it's like, 1 serving a day, the mortality is lower. Actually, what happened is like the people who drink nothing are mostly those who had a drinking problem, who quit because of health reasons. And so when you actually adjust for that statistically, it turns out that no, as you said, it is a toxin. Our bodies can handle it, of course. Our liver is absolutely amazing. But, it is kind of like the doctor's Cersei. What is the optimal amount of alcohol? The answer is none. And so I want to congratulate you on moving towards this. Like you said, you don't have to be a complete teetotaler like some of the people who do it for religious reasons, but the nature of plants and reducing alcohol is any improvement towards that optimal level that your body will thank you.
Right. Can you go back to the last slide? I wanted to say something that is, for me, this is pretty important, and it's saying no. And the reason why that's under stress is because I I don't say no because I feel guilty. I don't say no because anything that comes up, I want to do all of it. I want to do everything. There was a time that I was in like 4 bands, and I was on
Oh.
nonprofit steering committee, and I had like projects that I was working on, and I had like recreation sports league. I was doing absolutely everything, and it doesn't it it just doesn't work the way I want it to. So I feel bad when I have to miss out on things. But this year I'm using a physical calendar, not just the one on my phone. And I think a physical calendar will help give me a new habit of, oh, go check the calendar before you say yes. The calendar on my phone, I use that as like, oh, file it away in the calendar, and now it's taken care of. Now I don't have to worry about how much time things take. So when I use like the paper calendar, I think that'll be a good habit shifter where I'll go, oh no, I better go consult the calendar, decide if there's time to fit this thing into my life. And if it doesn't fit, say no, because I don't want to take away from all of the other things that are important that I've already put on the calendar, things that
That
I already
sounds absolutely amazing,
expected
man.
to do.
Because I remember when I started first doing the vegan meetups, man. I would there was about a month where I was doing events every single day, and it's just like it's great, but at some point you know you do need to find that balance where you don't almost feel like you said you almost feel bad. Like if I'm not doing enough, I'm not being productive. And it's like, you know what? Relaxation, you know, one of the Blue Zone lifestyles is stress reduction. It is meditation, taking time for yourself. And it sounds like this is an amazing idea. Physical calendars, people.
Yeah, and for me, it's definitely the fear of missing out. That's a big problem, but that goes right into satisfaction. So I this year I have to take some kind of an accounting of what do I really need to focus on that's going to give me some satisfaction. And number one that I need to improve this coming year is on music. And I'm setting very, very modest goals. One of them is to record one cover song, and that will help me with a little bit of practice discipline. And then one of them is recording one original song, and that will help me with a little bit of writing and creativity discipline. And they're two things that kind of go together, but they're two different kind of flavors of both ambitions and satisfactions that I get as a musician.
So are you being an aspiring musician, or like what do you do for a living?
Oh, for a living, I'm an electrical engineer, and I eventually I'm young enough now that I'm not worried about a career change yet, but I would want it to go in one of two directions, either something more in the music industry or more in science. And I'm an active musician. I'm not classically trained, but it's been a big part of my life. So I've been in a number of bands. I mostly play rock music, and I do some of my own writing. Recording one original song, that'll be a good goal for me because I have like hundreds or maybe thousands of snippets of like ideas or partial songs, and I don't usually finish them, and that always bothers me. And I've been accumulating them for decades now, like over 20 years, and I don't finish many songs. And so like I don't have to feel bad about the fact that I haven't finished a lot in the past. But if
Yeah,
I want to feel really good about it, don't let me just start with one. I'll just finish one.
yeah, no, I totally understand, man. Like all these projects that you can spread yourself, you know, mile wide and inch deep, and sometimes when you can find that passion and kind of laser like focus, and like here where you're like, hey, I've got a very modest goal, and like you know, like we discussed earlier, because you want to set yourself up not just one great year, 2025, 2026. You go from strength to strength, from victory to victory, a snowball effect of success, satisfaction, and joy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the conclusion here, I chose a picture of me that, like, this is how I want to see myself. That picture is from me at the Austin Marathon last year, completing a 5K. I was part of a team. God, that felt great. It was wonderful being involved with those people. A lot of satisfaction from that. A lot of self-satisfaction. That's something that I think is going to be an important point for me to focus on this year, is that I know that I gain a lot from being involved with other people. I'm an extrovert, but I am an individual person who's responsible for, my own destiny. It's not going to be anybody else's fault if I don't come through and have a great year. So this picture, that's a really good image for me. I want to maintain my fitness. I want to improve my nutrition. I need more dedication in order to maintain my friendships, and the reason is because we're forced to move. We're bummed about that, but we have to move kind of a little outside of town. So it's going to take a little bit of work just to maintain our baseline of the important friendships that we have in our community. I want to increase my satisfaction and doing that with more music, successful projects, and an overall lifestyle balance. That's what all of the above has been talking about. And to sum that up in a line of wisdom that my wife shared with me is, consider doing what somebody who loves themselves would do. And what I didn't write down, what occurred to me just before we had our talk today, was that putting all these targets together, taking an assessment of what makes for a lifestyle balance, is if I execute on this plan, what I'm doing is making space for the kind of life that I want to live and for being the kind of person that I want to be, rather than being bogged down and crammed in by overcommitments and feeling bad that I'm missing out on this or that. There are a bunch of things that had to get pushed off of this list if I was going to be realistic and make goals and targets that can actually fit into the year. So I got to make room for all of these really important items that belong as key parts of my life.
Well, thank you so much, John. I think if you're up for it, we should break these down out, all of these different Blue Zone lifestyle things, obviously we talk about the nutrition, so we can, do a summary on that as well. But the nutrition, the sleep, the stress, the, avoiding bad habits, we can basically do a multi-part series, because remember, the goal here is to inspire everybody watching to, become the Captain America version of yourself, whatever that means, whether it's me and my crazy goal of 3,000 miles in 1 year and 2 marathons every week, or something, 5K for Sean, or just improving. I mean, that's the thing, the satisfaction that you can feel from setting goals that enrich your life, that make you the best version of yourself. It really is. Once you experience it, you can't imagine ever going back to the way it was. And you can't, I honestly, it's I feel like, how is it that I just discovered this now? And you and I, we can help to inspire as many people as possible. And over the coming weeks and months, we will help you to set goals, achieve those goals, and we'll even help you to overcome the obstacles when you stumble and fall, because that's, of course, how it is with all goal setting. But remember, as Robert Herjavec likes to say, tough times never last, tough people always do. And it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. Thank you so much for joining me and Sean for Vegan Chat. I hope you join us next week when we'll start our multi-part, multi-week series on achieving a Blue Zone vegan lifestyle. that is truly science-based magic, nutrition-fueled sorcery that's helped both of us to become better, happier people, and it can do the same for you. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video to help other people try it on YouTube, and try a Blue Zone vegan lifestyle. It can transform your life like it has for us if you give it a chance and are powered by